All right, guys, I'll be with you in just a moment. Hold tight. Make sure you share this feed everywhere. Social media it out to the four winds. Big time news incoming. Major breaking news. Major breaking news. Red alert. Red alert. Hit that subscribe link if you haven't subscribed already, and the thumbs up button, and share it everywhere. If you want to be in the know and you want your loved ones and friends and foes to be in the know, let them know. If you want your foes to be in the know, let them know as well. Be the light. All right, guys, we're getting ready to go live here with the breaking news that is happening right now. I do believe it's going to intensify. I think that Iran is most probably going to retaliate. And it looks like there is a bigger onslaught this time from the U.S. in its bombing campaign. So it's definitely looking like it's about to really go down. So we're going to be watching this very closely as we go through the news cycle here for the 7th of July. And here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ta-da. Okay, well, you know, I'm sitting here watching this thing unfold here in the last few hours, and I'm thinking, okay, is this going to continue to escalate? Well, from some of the things that I'm looking at now, it looks like the U.S. is now trying to degrade the military of Iran because of these violations. Now, these violations are not violations because the MOU stated that Iran would be in complete control of who goes through the strait, right? And this is just an understanding. Maybe our understanding of what is actually in this document, if it's really even a document, maybe it's just a handshake. You know, maybe it's a secret handshake code. That it really doesn't mean anything, right? There's really not, I don't even think there's paper. The memorandum of understanding. So there's some kind of an agreement that we made that stated that Iran had free and complete control over the strait and who passed through. Well, the U.S. has their own corridor, and they're escorting ships through that are now being attacked. So we can't be everywhere at once. And the few ships that we do escort, I believe, are now under, and they've warned, Iran has warned all naval vessels that they will be hit with drones and missiles. And that's exactly what's been happening. So now we're attacking Iran and the military targets. Oil infrastructure, I guess, is now back in the sights. There is a lot of activity right as we speak right now with air fuel retankers. The air fuel retankers are in flight. So there isn't a larger operation ongoing. It's not just a tit for tat thing they're saying. This is going to be something that's going to the U.S. is going to try to really tamp down any kind of response from Iran at this point within a large barrage, and really probably, who knows, going after higher level targets in the government, in the military. Whatever's happening right now is a larger scale retaliation. Well, what they say is retaliation. But what I think is going to happen now is I think that we're going to be hearing incoming missile alerts from Israel, the Gulf states, you know, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. There may be some major repercussions as a result of this escalation. And U.S. bases are probably going to be targeted. Who knows? But this is right now unfolding right now. Now, I wanted to come on and do a news update because there is a lot of news going on. But I definitely want to keep up on what's happening here with this. This is very big news. Now, I believe it's all coinciding with the timeline of, they said July 4th is when we would hit the bottom of the barrel, when we would be sucking dregs from our strategic oil reserves because we have been depleting them to try to stabilize the global market so it doesn't affect countries that hold our treasuries, that are dumping them in order to supply and to stabilize their economies. They are dumping their most valuable assets, U.S. treasuries, and their gold reserves. And this is also why you see the price of gold plummeting. But they're in the process of trying to stabilize this, but now it hasn't worked, right? Trump has, and this is why I said I think he did it on purpose, is because I think Trump does want global chaos. Because anybody in their right mind would have saw this coming way in advance. We tried to warn everybody that what is being the policy of the U.S. is almost looking like it's suicidal for the dollar, the U.S. dollar, and it's just not smart. I mean, we've got generals now, former generals. I think this one I was looking at said that on a podcast just recently that the U.S. would do well we're going to have to evacuate all of the Middle East bases and pull back to like Saudi Arabia and Israel because all the other bases are too close for hypersonic attacks. There's hypersonic missile attacks are very close to Iran, and there's no way that we could prepare and or stop an attack, which we've already seen has happened amongst a number of U.S. bases. Now, the U.S. media isn't really reporting the types of damage that we've incurred from this war because, hey, it's not good news. And it does make us look a little bit more vulnerable and possibly even, susceptible to something much worse in the future. Now, Trump has definitely backpedaled in the negotiations with Iran and the stopping and cessation of escalations up until now. And I think that there's a possibility with this deadline now affecting the oil supply globally that Trump was hoping that Iran would go along with this because he has threatened under the veil. There was a veiled threat that if you didn't do this time, we're going to really bomb you, and we're going to go all out. We're going to go out all crazy. We're going to go out all crazy on you. That's when crazy comes out, right? You thought Trump was crazy? Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. Crazy is crazy. You haven't seen Trump crazy. You better do what we say or you're going to see real crazy. But they don't care. The Iranians do not care. And they've made it abundantly clear. And anybody with a 2 cents, any kind of sense, rubbing 2 pennies together can see that the Iranians have great resolve and they don't care if they're martyred. This is a part of their belief system. They are going to sacrifice all of their own lives to withstand and to stand against. And they've already prepared for this 30 years in advance, this attack. They've already war gamed this out. And Russia and China are fully behind what is going on with Iran. You saw the biggest funeral in the world's history just took place in Iran. Okay, that should tell you right there that Iran has global support. One of the largest funerals in global history just happened. And that was the Iranian leader that the U.S. took out. And Israel, obviously. And they're trying to justify that this was a part of the reasons for why they did it was because it was an existential threat to Israel and that he was planning all of these attacks. We're talking about Khomeini. But it just looks really bad. It really looks bad when you look at it from a global point of view. But who cares? We're America, right? We don't care what the world thinks, right? We're number one. We have the world reserve currency. We can do anything we want. We got a blank checks. We can still write them, right? Until we can't. And that until we can't is fast approaching. The petrodollar's decline and death when everybody starts utilizing the BRICS. This is why Brazil is on the target list right now. By the way, Brazil, we might be doing some special operations inside of Brazil here right now. We may be needing to do some kind of backup saving face kind of plan and I don't know, with the thing that's happening right now in Iran, this thing really could escalate into something much bigger than what has happened previously. I guess we're going to find out right now. So let's go ahead and look at some of the news here. I can continue on, but I'm just going to go ahead and start screenshotting some of this. We'll go over to our Telegram page here really quick. And by the way, if you haven't gotten the app, get the app, download it for breaking news. So when things happen, you'll be notified in real time. If you subscribe to the app or you register with the app, you'll get instant notifications via text. Or you can do the just push notification if you just download it as a guest. You can go to Apple or the Android store and just search BP News. And we appreciate all you that support the channel for the app and all the other services that we put out there for everybody. We do appreciate your guys' support. We appreciate that, as well as the most important prayer support that pushes this message far and wide. For everybody that knows and has been a part of this channel for a long time, you know the heart of what we do. And we make sure that we sprinkle that liberally in the sauce. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we get those microgreens hidden in there somewhere so that everybody gets a good taste of them. And yeah, we do sell microgreens too, by the way, but it's a metaphor for those who are a part of the channel that know what I'm talking about. For you that are just coming here watching the news, you'll get it eventually as you hang out here a little bit more. And this cup is green, so it disappears in my green screen. You see that? Woo, where did I go? Okay, so here we go. Explosions are now being reported. This is just now hot off the press. Let me get over here. I'm going to start monitoring some of these channels as we start to see these things coming in. Let's go ahead and start looking at some of this stuff that's happening here. It's just reported at 5:08 p.m. West Coast time. The explosions are now being reported in the vicinity of the Karak Island in Iran. Unconfirmed reports, this was at 5:04 just 5 minutes ago, of another attack on Bandar Abbas, according to a monitoring channel. This is definitely happening right now. I saw it coming. I did see that we were already seeing earlier reports of attacks, but they were going to escalate. This was just 5:06. U.S. military is on standby and prepared to impose blockade on Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz again, according to Wall Street Journal. Oh, I never did post. I never did post our update. Okay, so I got to let the Telegram know that, hey, we're live. War is happening once again. Yeah. So here's the way I see the U.S. so far, the way we've looked and been perceived by the world. This is the way it's looked to me. You see that? You see that? You see that? This is the U.S. right here. It kind of reminds me of the Three Stooges. We've just kind of tapped them. And, you know, to the Iranians, this isn't really a big deal because they have an eschatology. And you have to understand religion. You have to understand faith in the sense of what people are committed to wholeheartedly and are willing to die for, especially when they completely are consumed with this mindset of end time events that they themselves believe they are ushering in. The Iranians believe that they are going to usher in their last days Messiah by a great war. And this war is going to happen which they believe is right now with the West. So are they going to want to stop this? No, because they have a divine mandate according to their understanding of what is happening. This is a part of their end time destiny, is to have this confrontation. So if you don't know anything about eschatology of Islam, or at least Shia Islam, because they are a Shiite branch of Islam, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Just in, U.S. military is on standby and prepared to impose blockade. Okay, we already said that. Did I already just say that? Okay. Reports indicate that the IRGC Navy personnel have received preliminary instructions to prevent all traffic through the Strait of Hormuz until further notice. Loud jet aircraft are now reported over Aban, Iran, with sonic booms being heard. Okay, so now and I want to just focus on this for just a moment. I know that as time goes on, we're going to start seeing more reports coming in here. I think we're just ahead of it before it really starts to hit. And I do have a whole list of news to go through with you, so we can go through a lot of news and then stay abreast of what's happening as all the reports start flowing in. But I think we're going to start seeing a lot more footage. We're going to see a lot more attacks from U.S. and possibly retaliations from the Iranians as well. I think that's what we're about to hear. Just about a half an hour ago, explosions were being heard in Avaz, Iran. So there's many different places that are being softened up right now. And from the intel that I got, it was a campaign to begin in earnest, a lot more so than what we've seen in the past. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some more information. I'm going to go to a couple of websites here. Let me get them set up here really quick here. And by the way, God bless all you out there that are here at the BP News channel and that are a part of our channel, all the mods. And we should be doing some more stuff here with the mods here soon. So make sure if you're a mod, you get ready for... Okay, what is this? Hold on one second here. All right, hold on one second. I got to move this here thing. Or hold on. 1 second here. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. This thing is in the way. All right. Okay. So we are on which feed here? Let's see this feed. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're looking at HT radio show, and okay, this was the Kiev one. Let's go back over here. Okay, oops, that's the wrong one. Okay, here we go. So this one here states that okay, this was at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was about an hour ago. Iran is suffering numerous explosions after hitting 4 commercial ships in 2 days. All right, and now it says here, numerous reports are flooding in as of an hour ago that numerous explosions, several locations inside of Iran. It is believed that the U.S. is striking Iran again at this hour. Now, that was an hour ago. Now we know for sure that this is what's happening. Any U.S. strikes would likely be retaliation for Iran hitting a total of 4 commercial oil LNG vessels over the last 36 hours or so. And by the way, you know, Europe changed their whole dependence on Russian LNG and went back to more expensive U.S. LNG. But what's happened now is that the supplies of LNG have been sucked up by Asia, paying a premium, which is way over and above what Europe is paying. So now they're down 40% of what they were normally taking in, and they're not prepared for the winter because they have already cut off Russia, or they basically are coming to a complete end of dependence on Russia, and now they're dependent on the U.S. but the U.S. is selling at such a high premium to Asia that they're not even able to get supplied. So now that they're attacking these ships, these are LNG ships, I'm just telling you guys, what is coming and what I've been hearing, some of the rumors that I've been hearing in the last 24 hours is that we are running low here in America on gas in some areas and locations. There are some other rumors I'm going to talk about, but it seems to be coinciding with this deadline that was given, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Reports are now saying that there have been 6 explosions in or near the city of Qasam, and other reports claiming that the sound of 7 explosions in the vicinity of the village of Taravi in Sirklik County, Iran. Okay. So these are confirmed U.S. attacks as of 6 p.m. West Coast or Eastern Standard Time, which would have been 2 hours ago. U.S. Central Command has confirmed that U.S. Central Command forces have begun launching a series of powerful strikes against Iran to impose heavy costs for targeting and attacking commercial shipping crewed by innocent civilians in an international waterway. The U.S. strikes are in response to Iranian attacks on 3 commercial vessels that were transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's demonstrated aggression was unwarranted, dangerous, and a clear violation of the ceasefire. U.S. strikes on Iran is much heavier than previous retaliatory strikes over the 20 explosions in Bandar Abbas alone. This was 2 hours ago. An hour and a half ago, these strikes are punishment not proportional, and we won't be over for a while. This was a statement that was made an hour and a half ago. An hour ago, it says massive power outages in Bahrain and Kuwait. There is no reason reported for this, but I am speculating that Iran's Handala group hacked their power grids. They made these threats in the past. Wow. So Bahrain and Kuwait, these are huge allied interests, American interests in these countries, and these are big allies of the U.S. So this is his analysis here. He says that with regard to these strikes not being over for a while, this is Hal Turner. And I always say with Hal Turner, he's usually got some really good stuff and then some stuff that's just unconfirmed reports that don't always pan out. So always take Hal Turner, with a little bit of caution, but he does have good stuff that he does put out. And this is the other thing we're going to get into with this supply chain disruption of our gas in a minute. But it says here, with regard to these strikes not being over for a while, this indicates that the initial wave of the carrier-based airstrikes is just the opening salvo of a sustained high-intensity operation. By moving past standard tit-for-tat retaliation, the U.S. is intentionally executing an asymmetric campaign aimed at permanently degrading the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' ability to project power in the region. So they're really trying to stop these incursions or these, disruptions of the flow of shipping. I think this is what we're trying to do right now, because we are not doing a good job at opening up the strait. Okay, because Iran is wanting to control everything, and we're not getting enough going through. There is going to be serious global repercussions from what is happening now, because it hasn't been opened. Trump said, 3 or 4 weeks ago, start your engines. The oil is flowing once again. I have allowed oil to flow, but has it been flowing? No. Has America looked stupid? Yes. Is the whole world laughing at us? Probably. Because nothing. I told you Iran was in complete control of what's going on there. And now I think we're going to start throwing our little temper tantrum, and we're going to start trying to really bomb them. I mean, this could escalate really big, guys, because of what I think is happening with our gas and oil supply, how it's affecting the U.S. It's really going to affect us big. So it says this stark admission confirms that Washington is no longer seeking to simply deter Iranian actions, but is actively dismantling its southern military infrastructure. With U.S. Navy fighter jets continuing to pound strategic assets across Bandar Abbas, Surik, and Qasem Island, the Pentagon is setting in for an extended air campaign to thoroughly break the IRGC's grip on the Strait of Hormuz. Is that going to happen? If it doesn't, you know what the consequences are, don't you? Huge. And they're going to blame Iran for this when the consequences begin to be felt by the average American. Now, there's been some other interesting conversations on this topic, and I'm going to show you some other information that we should be looking at as well. Let's see if I can find it here. One second here. Oh shoot, I don't got the archive here. All right, I think I have it on my other page here. I got to find it here really quick. Just give me a second here. This is about okay. Yeah, there is something going on with our gas supply here, and I want to try to go into this really quickly here. Let's go ahead and look at this first while I look for the other thing. This is coming from the Wine Press. It is a Substack, very interesting Substack. Trump White House promotes subsidized gas stations called Freedom Fuel Network. Oh boy, that tells you that we're really in the clear and that we're really, in control of what's really happening, right? Because it's patriotism. It's kind of like the Patriot Act. Just put a little attachment of patriotism and everybody's going to be like, hey, this is great. We're going to get right behind all this. So it says on July 1st, President Trump posted on Truth Social that a collection of gas stations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey were stepping up, quote unquote, by lowering gas prices to celebrate the country's birthday and were rebranded as the Freedom Fuel Network. Remember, Trump has stated that gas stations are gouging the public by having prices still too high. We're still at about $4 a gallon, right? Well, sure, there's going to be stations that are going to pop up and they're going to try to capitalize on some well-deserved, what they perceive as marketing. This is a way to get their name out there. Obviously, Trump is going to mention these stations, right? So why not? Get on the Freedom Network and get your name mentioned, and who knows, it's going to be popular, right? But this is not what's really going on. We are in a lot more trouble than a lot of people realize, okay? And I'm going to try to break it down for you guys so you can understand what I'm talking about, because I don't think the average person gets it here. Just as I promised, oil prices are plummeting fast, and gas price. And Trump always, this is a part of his MO. He always talks big. He makes things up. He embellishes. He projects what he wants to happen by using his words to hopefully make it happen. Like, it's called word magic. It's like blab it and grab. It's kind of like the charismatics in Christianity. Blab it and grab it. Fake it till you make it. Whatever they call it, positive confession. Anyways, this is what Trump was raised on. This is his psychology. This is what he was instructed on as a young child through Norman Vincent Peale's teaching, and it kind of goes along with his character and personality of self-aggrandizement. Also appeals to his ego. But it does have a semblance of, marshaling forces in the world to accomplish certain things, but it's based on a lie. This is the problem. It's not based on reality. Okay? So what it does is it creates a false reality. It does affect the world in which we live, and it creates a false reality, which isn't based on tried and true reality and principles that are going to be sustained for long term. Okay, it's kind of like, why did Trump claim bankruptcy 8 times? Because he faked it until he made it, but really didn't have the ability to sustain it, right? And so he had to claim bankruptcy. So why do you create these images of success when your whole business model is falling through the floor and you have to claim bankruptcy 8 different times in a course of 20-something years? Because the same thing is happening here with the U.S. You're creating an image that's not real, or it's a false image, or it's a lying sign and wonder. The Bible calls it lying signs and wonders. It's based on, it may seem like a sign and a wonder, but it's based in it's based in a failing reality. It's an alternate dimension that's ultimately going to lead you straight into the hot place. Okay? So don't believe it. Just as I promised, oil prices are plummeting fast. Gas prices at the pump are dropping too, but not as fast as they should be. As we approached America's 250th birthday, I am pleased to announce that a very smart retailer located throughout the Northeast is stepping up and wishing the people of Philadelphia a happy birthday. On July 3rd, the Freedom Fuel Network will be lowering gas prices by 25 Freedom Fuel stations across the greater Philadelphia area. Now, they're losing money by doing this. They are literally losing money, but it's worth name recognition. It's worth getting your name and brand out there, isn't it? To the whole world. Your brand is getting recognized out there by just lowering your cost and eating up any kind of profits that you would have made. It's literally not making any profit. But Trump is promoting nonprofit. He's promoting this business so they don't make a profit. But they don't care because they're getting free advertising. This retailer is taking the lead and others should follow. Yeah, others should follow, but they're not going to get their name in the headlines. So why would anybody want to follow this? Unless, of course, they're going to get their name in the headlines. And the Trump administration probably played right into this and contacted them and said, hey, we'll put your name out there if you lower your prices. And you can be an example of, instead of the stick, the carrot, people be doing this by the carrot, they're going to get the stick. They're going to investigate you if you're price gouging, right? All these stations out there are price gouging. They're making too much profits. Well, I don't think they can do anything to them when they show their bills. They're making a very slim margin of profit on gas, okay? And it's really not gas margins that you're making profit on anyway. It's them coming to your gas station so they can buy all those expensive convenience store items when they get into the door. Gas stations do not make a huge profit on gas. It's kind of like buying a cell phone. The cell phone isn't really where they're making their money. It's on the resale of their service, right? It's the resale of their service. If you keep coming over to buy gas, make just a little bit, but hey, they go in and they buy a $3 Pepsi, or a $4 candy bar or whatever, That's where the money is at for these little retail stores, gas stations. So it goes on to say they are doing this because they love the U.S. We are proud to celebrate America's 250th birthday in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the birthplace of our special, very special, one-of-a-kind Declaration of Independence, and where I won big. There he goes, talking about himself. I won big here. Like, thank you. We already heard that like 1,000 times. In the presidential, America has never been stronger than it is now, and gas prices will soon be back to record low levels, right? And the Strait of Hormuz is going to be wide open. In fact, it's already open. How many times did Trump say that the Strait of Hormuz was already open? And that Iranian military was completely decimated. Their missiles, everything is completely destroyed. He literally said annihilated. I think the word was annihilation. It's been completely annihilated, decimated. And yet The strait is still being locked down. The Iranians are still throwing missiles and drones. They still have control, and they still have a military, and they still have a government. Okay? And it still is operational, very effective, and it's still keeping the strait closed. So just because Trump says it, most of the time the world is getting the picture now that it doesn't mean anything. I saw an Islamic channel saying it's not worth the wet paper that's written on. This agreement is not worth the paper, and he called it the wet paper, wet toilet paper possibly, that it's even written on. Record low prices Americans enjoyed at the pump before our very successful excursion. Before our very successful excursion. Oh, this excursion into Iran, very successful. Well, it hasn't been successful yet because we're still bombing them. As of right now, we're still bombing them. So it hasn't been successful. And it still is not open. And gas prices are still high. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday. The White House hosted a promotional video today highlighting how gas was only $3.47 a gallon because Trump is the 47th president. Oh, great. Okay, so this is the Freedom Fuel Network. Here, let's look at this piece of U.S. propaganda here. Let's look at this. Okay, this is going to be good. I can already tell. All right, let's turn this up. Can I hear this? Let's see if we can hear this.
I saved money. I had to go back in and get my change. I thought gas was more expensive, but it's not. So thanks, Trump, for saving me some money.
We're here at the first Freedom Fuel Network gas station right here in Philadelphia, leading the charge to lower gas prices.
Okay, I can't play that because it's got sound to it that I'm going to have to get copyrighted for. But basically, this is it. They're just basically going through a whole testimonial.
President Donald J.
They're going through a whole testimonial praising Donald Trump for low prices, right? Just a testimonial of praise to Trump and an amazing Americana coming back. We're coming back. We're back. Everybody wants to be us. Everybody says America is hot. Hot, hot, like my shirt. It's on fire. We're on fire, man. Our economy's on fire. It's never been hotter before. It's so hot, the whole place is burning down. That's how hot it is. Hot, hot, hot. All right, so it says, thanks to President Trump's strong leadership, we're seeing price relief at the pump, real savings, an additional 50 cents per gallon at Freedom Fuel gas stations across Philadelphia and New Jersey. Other gas stations should do the right thing and follow suit. Find Freedom Fuel stations near you and make sure you buy a bunch of products while you're there so you can help us make up for the deficit of no profits off the gas that we're selling. Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up. Good job. The Philadelphia Inquirer exclusively provided more details about the newly rebranded stations. So they rebranded these stations. Amazing. This is just absolutely crazy. So let me just take a look. To Corporation Trust Company, which Trump has used before himself. It was registered 3 weeks after T-Mobile. So here we go. The Freedom Fuel Network, the 25 stations that lowered prices the president has referred to, was registered in June 23rd, 2026. That was just a week or two ago, to Corporation Trust Company, which Trump has used himself before. It was registered 3 weeks after T-Mobile took over some Shell stations offering $1.99 gas. Oh, wow. And that was all just a marketing ploy just to kind of make it seem like things are better. I'm just telling you, this is all just to try to psychologically make everybody think everything's okay. That's all it is, because things are really bad. And I'm going to show you here in just a moment. All right, just listen to this. Just listen to this guy here. You guys know Canadian Prepper. Canadian Prepper, I love the guy. He's got some great commentary. He needs to get saved, but hey, it's okay. God still uses unsaved people, right? And even my wife, before we even knew who Canadian Prepper was, my wife had a very clear dream. I think it was a dream that she had about this person that was talking about the end of things. He would always say it's worse. He would always say it's really bad, in the dream. And then when we started watching Canadian Prepper, she goes, that's the guy that I had that dream about. This is what he looked like. And I'm telling you, he's breaking down geopolitics very well. Very well. And I would recommend you could watch him, for what he has to say. But listen to what he says about this. The guests that he has on there are usually pretty good. Obviously, they're all, from different persuasions, but he likes to mix it up. And I would say a lot of people would say, you're wrong, Robert, on that. But just listen to what he has to say. Okay?
The not New York subway crack spreads. So you have the price of oil, and then you have the price of gasoline. And you can see the divergence here. And Trump thinks that it's market manipulation. But it really boils down to gasoline is still in high supply, and oil is still in high supply, but oil is being artificially suppressed by the short market and the releases of all of the world's strategic oil reserves. Something to the tune of 400 million barrels of oil are being released, and that doesn't account for whatever China is releasing. So the 3-2-1 crack spread is that with 3 barrels of oil, typically you're going to get 2 barrels of gasoline and 1 barrel of distillates like diesel. All right. And so there's a divergence in price that happens, or that has happened, since May 29th. And really, this skewed data is reflective of, and you see it happened up here too. And then, of course, these things came back together again, because ultimately they do have to come back together. This is not just price gouging. There's a story behind it, and I'm not a natural resource or economist expert to explain the story for that divergence, but it's not all about, oil companies or retail, gasoline outlets just trying to get rich. There's something fundamentally happening here, because the supply-demand picture is so skewed by the artificial suppression of prices, whereas our demand continues to go up, and we're not changing our habits in any meaningful way, like they've been forced to in many Asian countries. We are just living our lives as if there's no fundamental problem here. And for that reason, there is a problem underneath, and it's going to get worse because we're not changing those habits. So eventually, a reckoning has to happen. And so right now, it appears, I removed that graph. It appears that the Chinese had turned a corner and are starting to import oil again. It looks like we hit a bottom. Now, that Chinese lack of import and demand suppression, I don't think it's what a lot of analysts are saying it is. I think it's because they simply couldn't get oil. After all, China was the biggest importer of oil from Saudi Arabia, from Iran, from all the Gulf state countries. What was not coming out of the Persian Gulf? Oil. So it wasn't that they were actively trying to, suppress consumption of oil. Maybe there was to a certain extent, but I think it was largely because they simply couldn't. So this is monthly imports of oil. And so the other graph showed that it was actually hitting a bottom here. And eventually, China uses 17 million barrels of oil a day. So they might have, which is like,
okay, so we have information right now that a missile launch has happened, has been reported from Bashar, Iran, according to preliminary reports. Okay, so we have a missile launch that just has happened. Preliminary reports indicate that Iran has launched retaliatory strikes against U.S. targets, just like I said would happen here. This is going down right now. The MOU between Iran and the United States has fallen apart, and the U.S. is now bombing Karag Island as demanded by Benjamin Netanyahu. But this one here, this was just reported just now. So we should be hearing anytime. I'll bet you the Kumta alert's going to go off. There hasn't been a Kumta alert in a long time. So last time there was a Kumta alert was July 2nd, and they've been far and few in between. June 26th, hardly any Kumta alerts at all. And I'll bet you that we're going to start seeing Kumta alerts go off here, either in Israel or possibly UAE or Saudi Arabia. They're going to go after some targets. And I have a feeling that they're going to go after, and I'm talking about the Iranians, they're going to probably use hypersonic guided, satellite guided missiles that are probably, and I'm telling you, the Chinese and the Russians are helping them. This is a part of their strategic plan to counterbalance what's happening in Ukraine with the U.S. aiding and abetting NATO, or aiding and abetting Ukraine, which is, they say, is NATO, but it is really U.S. We're and by the way, if you haven't seen what's going on in Russia right now and in Ukraine, there is a massive attack that's been ongoing for the last week now. Just has an unrelenting attack against critical infrastructure. And the Russians are now bombing everything. They're bombing gas stations. They're bombing, this is civilian stuff now, too. They're bombing civilian infrastructure as retaliation for all the things that are happening on their critical infrastructure inside of Russia, inside of Moscow. So this is definitely escalating. And I'm just trying to show you guys the big picture here because, and I'm guessing I can get into the other news too, because there's a lot of other news that's going to be happening, or that's happening right now, but this is going to continue to escalate, I think, throughout the night. So we're going to be paying attention to that. Let me just post this really quick. Let's see here. Let me just post this really quick here. So we should be hearing more here in just a little bit on that front. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. This is interesting, what's happening right now in New York. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there is a building, a high-rise building, that's been evacuated after workers, I guess they're building it right now. We're talking about 16 stories high. I think it's even more than that. Let's see. Okay, so wait a minute. There are 16 additional floors above those that buckled. The buckled structure steel beams are on floors 21 and 22. So there's a total of 36 floors. We're talking a building that is 36 floors high. Okay? And I don't know if you saw this, but it sounds to me like they have not got this under control at all. Look at this. Look at this video.
Looking at a developing story as it's happening right now. This video that we just got into our newsroom just a little while ago, all a part of it, because a busy stretch of Midtown has been turned into an emergency scene this morning after a structural problem was discovered at a high-rise construction project. This video that you're looking at right here is from inside of this building. The video we got in from a man named Anthony Marino. And here's what we know. What began as reports of bricks falling from a building quickly escalated when firefighters found two buckled structured columns on the 21st floor. And now the Department of Buildings has inspectors on the scene trying to determine exactly what failed and whether the building is stable and pretty much what happens next. Tyler, can we go back to that first video that we were looking at? Okay, so we can kind of give us it's not these aluminum sort of pillars and beams that we're worried about. It's what's behind it there. So if you take a look, and we'll go back to it in just a second, it'll restart. So that's what we're worried about there, that column in the back, the one that's buckled. Apparently there's two of those columns that have buckled, and that's what's causing this real concern here. So where is this all happening? This is at 235 East 42nd Street. That's between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. A 911 call came in at about...
Okay, so this potentially, listen to this. So we've got structural engineers that have talked about what they see here, and they say that there's a possibility that this, if there's any more movement or any more destabilization of this floor, that it could literally fall, the whole top store, all the stories above it could fall into the street. Literally just slide right off and go into the street. This would be almost akin to a 9/11 here, happening right now in New York. Okay, so it says streets in a wide area around the former Pfizer complex. And by the way, it's Pfizer. That's kind of weird. Near Grand Central Terminal remain closed as structural engineers monitor the steel frame structure and prepare emergency stabilization measures. As of about 1 p.m. Eastern time, which was at least, 5 hours ago, or maybe more than that, it's like 8 hours ago, it says the chief of the fire department revealed that emergency measures or emergency measuring equipment installed when the New York City Department of Buildings arrived indicated the collapsing floors are still moving. Listen to what he said. This is the department chief of department of the fire department of New York City.
It's a very serious situation. The box beams, the steel beams, had started to bend and deflect from the weight. We evacuated the building and started evacuations of surrounding buildings, and the building has continued to move since we've been on the scene. We have a frozen zone and a collapse zone set up, and we are working with the buildings department and the building engineer to make
a frozen zone and a collapse zone. So they have marked out the streets below in case the whole top part of that building falls off. Now, would it collapse in on itself like the Twin Towers? Boom, 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 boom. Or is it going to just fall off? So structural engineer information here says, the structural engineer says he did not personally inspect the scene, but he has viewed the video of the buckled beams. He said if those floors with the buckling beams finally give way, those top 16 floors could literally slide off the building and come crashing down 21 floors onto the street below. He went on further to say that if they don't slide off the building completely, they could end up repositioning weight in such a way that the entire building collapses. All 37 floors. What? I didn't read that part until now. That's huge. Evacuations of nearby buildings, including the New York City Public School, have been undertaken, and all traffic on the nearby streets has been shut off. Gridlock is already occurring in Manhattan traffic. And here's Mandami talking. The building is unstable and no one will be in it for a while. This seems to be the case of low quality materials used during construction caused not by hiring good enough contractors. Okay, so what is it? Probably sabotage of the steel, right? Would you say Chinese steel? You know, they've done tests on Chinese steel. And who knows? I can almost bet you that this steel that they used in this building is from China. Let's see what Mandami had to say.
First responders from FDNY, NISM, and the Department of Buildings responded to the call immediately and found structural issues on the 21st floor. 2 structural columns have buckled, in addition to multiple cracks and sagging floors. The building remains unstable.
I don't think anyone's going back in this building for a while. This is not something you typically see in New York City. You have one of the best labor forces in the world. So to have a building have steel bending while it's under construction, to me, it's a lack of vetting your contractors. To me, it's a lack of not picking safety over profits.
Okay. Well, there you go on that. Yep. Look at this. My gosh.
Looking at it.
That is absolutely crazy. Let's see what Mario says here. Oh, they're doing a live stream on this. So they're doing a live stream on Iran attacks U.S. Navy ships. What? Iran has attacked a Navy U.S. ship. You got to be kidding. Let's see. Is that true? Let's listen.
Please, no interruptions. Let's just get through some
Bill
of these
keeps getting blamed for things he
So,
didn't do.
so,
Poor guy.
Joe, I'm sorry, man.
so when the Islamic Revolution happened, first order of business was kidnap American diplomats. Other orders of business included blowing up Marines in Beirut. Other orders of business were committing acts of terror against American targets around the world, attempting to assassinate even.
Okay, just that was some Israeli talking, but the headline is that Iran attacks U.S. Navy ships. All right, so this is the Mario Newfall. There's a lot of people watching right now, or listening, I should say. So this is a big news event. Let me see. Iran attacks U.S. Navy ship. Let me see if this is in the news right now. Let's see here. U.S. launches new attacks. Okay, I don't see anything right now about U.S. Navy ships being attacked, but that was their title. So that's, and he's a pretty big channel. Let me go back over to his X channel and see if he said something about that. Mario. He's got 3.6 million subscribers. 12 minutes ago, the U.S. is hitting Iran with strikes 4 to 5 times bigger than anything since the ceasefire in the middle of the funeral commemorations. Oh, my goodness. So the funeral is still ongoing with Khomeini. I thought it was over, but, they mourn in a different way. It could be a national thing that lasts for a week or two. Trump approved the plan from Ankara per Axios, huddled with Hegseth, Rubio, Bassett, and General Kane. Raisin Kane, don't forget, his favorite general, because he's got a name that sounds like Raisin Kane. You're just causing chaos. Isn't that what Raisin Kane means? You're just causing all kinds of chaos. He's been huddling with these guys on the sidelines of the NATO summit. So there's a NATO summit happening right now in Turkey. Now, the stuff that's going on with Turkey is totally biblical too, by the way. This relationship that we are forging right now with Turkey, I believe, is biblical prophecy unfolding right before our very eyes. You're seeing the dominant now position and the very big influence that Turkey is going to have on those last day wars that it says Turkey would be involved in. And this is exactly what I see being prepared now for these attacks that are going to come against Israel. This is why Israel's very unnerved right now. They are very upset at what Trump is saying and how he's facilitating this end time war that's going to be on their doorstep, with Turkey being a very big player in it. We're giving them a whole bunch of munitions and armaments and F-35s. We've got a big military package. We're like saying we're buddies with them now. Israel's feeling a little bit jealous, a little bit, maybe a little bit rejected. Trump hasn't been really, being a messiah figure to them anymore. And now it's big betrayal once again. Another betrayal. Very upset at Trump right now. If you have been not noticing the news cycle here, all of you evangelical pre-tribbers out there that we're supposed to be protecting Israel with Trump being the great advocate and, God's man, Cyrus, he doesn't seem to be doing Cyrus-type things right now. He seems to be doing things that are completely opposite, things that we warned 4 or 5 years ago were coming, in spite of the fact that everybody said that we were crazy. No, we just saw future events right there in biblical prophecy that people weren't paying attention to. So this is what is happening right now. It says Malcolm Nance is okay. So let's see. Empty was the message. Malcolm Nance's chilling aside, had that tanker been loaded, you'd be looking at an all hands lost fireball. Okay, so when they attacked that LNG carrier, they said that the thing did not explode into a massive ball of fire. It was empty, he said, but the targets, per a U.S. official, air defenses, coastal radar, anti-ship missile sites, drone launcher ports. Now, this is in preparation for a ground invasion, I think. I think what they're doing is they're getting ready, the U.S. is getting ready for a larger scale operation going into Iran. So they're going against air defenses, coastal radar, anti-ship missile sites, drone launchers, and ports. Explosions are rolling across Cyrillic, Qasem, Bandar Abbas. Moments earlier, Treasury revoked the oil waivers, and Tehran fired back that the revocation itself breaches the MOU. So what does that mean? MOU is no longer on. Iran is going to go back to targeting critical infrastructure, possibly all throughout the whole of the Middle East, the Gulf states, to try to harm and destroy whatever is left of the global economy that's based on the petrodollar, right? This is what they're really after, is destroying the dollar. They want to destroy America's influence, especially its control on nation states like, anyone that we want to go pick on, right? Supposedly that we pick on. But you can't do that with a country like Iran because they've already prepared in advance 20 to 30 plus years. This is why they got those deep underground military missile cities. This is why they have a mosaic of governmental leadership that if you take out one, they're gonna it's like whack-a-mole. You're gonna have another government leadership team already ready to go. Okay, whack-a-mole, you're not gonna get them. They're gonna continue the fight all the way to the bitter end, which they believe in their eschatology is the end of the end time wars. And by the way, Iran is a big player as well in these last day wars against Israel. We're getting so close, guys. This is so fast, quickly shaping up. How many of you out there see the timeline? I keep trying to tell people the timeline. The classic interpretation of end time prophecies timeline is off. Okay, people's timeline. You Christians out there that are still pre-trib oriented, your timelines are off. You're not seeing what we're seeing here. You're not, you're believing something because it's convenient or it's more comfortable, and it makes you feel better because you're going to get taken out of the way before it all goes down. Right? There's you think it's wrath, but it's really not. It's just tribulation. Okay, the tribulation. You are going to be a tribulation saint, whether you like it or not. Just get ready for that. All right. Reports indicate a missile has been fired from the big missile site in Iran. So another missile launch. So the other one was from Bashur, Iran. This one is now coming from Big Bagana missile site in Iran. Okay, so we've got more missiles outgoing. I'm expecting the Kumta alerts to go off. If they're not targeting Israel, they're going to be targeting U.S. They're going to be targeting U.S. interests. Maybe they're going after our ships. They were just saying on that Mario feed that it was a Navy U.S. ship that was targeted by Iran. Let's see if I can find out what was going on there. See, Mario just now started posting about this just 12 minutes ago. See how we were way up on advance on this? Even the sites like Mario, he's very quick on posting news. That's all they do all day long is monitor internet feeds and things like this. And they posted, we were way before them. They hadn't even posted it yet. Hadn't even posted this yet until 12 minutes ago. Oil prices are falling with supply. Okay, oil prices are falling with supply this tight, and that should terrify you more than any war. Look at what he just said 4 minutes ago. This is what I keep trying to tell people. They're not getting what's coming. They're not preparing for what's coming. It's a false reality that they've imposed via media, social media influencers, and a quashing of international reality news. Reality news is coming from all sources outside of the U.S., but the people within are being dumbed down. Okay, unconfirmed reports of an explosion sound heard in Asvan, Iran. Asvaz, Iran. I'm sorry, Asvaz. All right, so he says that George Gammon flips the standard read on the oil market. Everyone's obsessing over supply constraints, yet prices keep sliding, and to him, that mismatch exposes something bigger. Remember, we kept saying that the divergence in price, right? We showed you that graph. So what he says here is, he said, demand is rotting underneath. His explanation is a global economic shutdown already underway. Oh my gosh. The strongest evidence sits in China, where reduced purchasing points to cooling demand keep enough to swallow the supply concerns whole. Even the volatility around the U.S. announcements on Iranian oil licenses hasn't changed the trajectory. See, we just revoked Iranian licenses to sell their oil to try to bolster back up the global supply, right? Wow, this is... Okay, so let me refresh this and see if there's something else that they posted about this. Okay, so it says here, moments earlier, the Treasury revoked the oil waivers, and Tehran fired back that the revocation itself breaches the MOU. Each side now holds a signed document accusing the other of tearing it up. Malcolm has watched this loop since he was 26, and his verdict hasn't budged. The geography favors Iran. The tunnels survive. Every round resets the clock. That's what I keep telling everybody. There's nothing they're not going to get these deep underground missile cities. After a package of this size, he expects Tehran to skip symbolic tarmac strikes and escalate where it hurts, possibly sinking the next vessel that runs the Omani corridor. And this is the U.S. corridor. You should be saying the U.S. corridor. They're going to sink it. The next ship that goes through is going to get sunk. His question hangs over the night. What exactly does hitting rebuilt rubble buy? That's all we're going to be doing is just hitting a bunch of rubble. They're already dug in. The real military, the governmental structure, it's all underground. There's nothing I don't think we're going to be able to do there. Okay, 3 large explosions reported in Bandar Abbas, Iran, strong enough to shake windows, according to unconfirmed local reports. Or confirmed local reports. I'm sorry, confirmed local reports. So this was in Bandar Abbas. And then other reports of missile launches from Tabriz, Iran. So more missile launches from Tabriz. We should be finding out soon of what's going on with possible attacks on U.S. interests here. I'm expecting that to happen anytime. Iranian state media, let's go and look at it. Let's go and look back at Iran state media states FAR News agency confirms that anti-ship missiles were launched. Anti-ship missiles were launched, citing Middle East Spectator MES. Oh, boy. After a follow-up, we can confirm at least half a dozen anti-ship missiles and drones were launched toward targets in the Persian Gulf waters. Would that be U.S. Navy ships, as Mario has stated in that live that he's doing right now? Maybe they got information that U.S. Navy ships have been targeted by anti-ship missiles. And these are hypersonic, most likely hitting targets. This is the Iraq. Okay, so this is the Ayatollah Khomeini's funeral. Look at this. They're probably all leaving because of what's going on. Look at how big this funeral is. They said that there were millions and millions and millions. Funeral prayer for Ayatollah in the holy shrine of Imam Ali. These are Islamic channels, guys. The coffin of Iran's martyred leader has arrived at the holy shrine. So this was earlier today. And we're attacking them right now. This is crazy. Wow. This is absolutely craziness. Crowds in the Najaf await the arrival of Imam Khomeini's pure body to the shrine. Wow. So this is confirmed. Iran fired at least 2 anti-ship cruise missiles and various drones at U.S. Navy vessels in the Sea of Oman. Wow. Wow. Anti-ship missiles toward U.S. Navy ships in the Persian Gulf. Okay. This is big news. Oh, boy. Let's see if I can put this up on our feed here. Our channel. We need to update our channel here real quickly. Make sure you share this feed, guys. Get it out there on all your social media here. Let's see. U.S. launches major bombing campaign against Iran. U.S. warships by cruise missiles. Okay. Big news, guys. That's big news. Let me just see what's going to happen here. Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on to some other news here while we wait, because I think we're going to be seeing a bunch of stuff hitting the fan here. One second. Let me just, I'm just doing something really quick here. Okay, we got some more reports here. Hello. Are you there? There. Check your feed. Reports about ballistic missiles are not confirmed. Okay, let's see what this is saying. But they are confirmed. There are confirmed heavy explosion sounds at various sites in Iran, which are still not clearly identified. Okay, no, these are ballistic missiles that are coming out of Iran. This is from Intel Slav. This isn't a Middle Eastern site, but the ones that we're talking about here that said confirmed missiles, anti-ship missiles, that is something else. Okay, so we got video. Okay, we got footage now. All right, we got footage of what's going on. So this right here is footage out of Shahid Haghani Port in Bandar Abbas, southern Iran. So this is what you're looking at right now. Yeah. Yep. There's a bunch of missile strikes on Kiev right now going on. This is U.S. strikes docks, fishing boats, apparently its favorite target. I did see that one. Okay. Let's see what this is. Okay, nukes, chemical weapons. Bibi changes the scare script, asked by Newsmax whether Iran has biological or chemical weapons. Netanyahu confidently claimed that they definitely have chemical weapons, that I can tell you, and that is another danger that they pose. Okay. Let me just see if there's any more updates on this. No. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Senator Mitch McConnell supposedly is brain dead after a heart attack or some kind of stroke, maybe. They're saying he's brain dead. Cassandra McDonald, is that? Oh, that's McConnell. I'm thinking McConnell. What the heck is going on here? My feed is just weird here. Okay, U.S. Homeland Security. Iranian President Pezeshkian's plane makes emergency departure from Najaf, Iraq, back to Iran amid massive U.S. bombing across Iran. Oh, no. Am I still connected? Okay, sorry about that. I got disconnected. Something happened to my connection there. Am I okay? My OBS just said I got disconnected. Am I okay here? All right, guys. So I want to make sure that I plug the channel, and for all you guys that appreciate what we do here and the work that we put in to get people alerted, hit those links below in the video description. Support the channel in every way you can by sharing the feed, thumbs upping the video, donating. We also appreciate donations and those who are regular supporters through subscription. If you're a part of the channel and you subscribe, we're going to be putting out more content for those subscribers as well, or get connected to our Patreon account, or maybe the buy coffee. If you want to put a live message on here, you can also post a live coffee where your message will pop up and everybody will see it. Or you can go right with YouTube, even though they take like 40% of it. Oh, am I muted? Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Can you guys hear me? Somebody said I was muted. Even though they. Oh, no, I'm not muted. It stopped right when you, oh, did it really? So you guys, were you able to hear me okay? Let me hear. Okay. Joff. Regular supporters through. Okay, yeah. Somebody said it stopped right before. Okay, for a second. Okay, there you go. And I want to thank all you guys, all the mods, Elizabeth, Diane, Beloved One. There's a few other mods in here, and all you subscribers in green, Kevin, McCarth, Lynn Farley. Let's see, who else? Michael Clark. No sound again. You guys can't hear me? I think it's on your end, honey. Oh, no, I'm not muted. Arth, Lynn. I think it's on your side, honey. Is anybody having a problem with hearing me? Everybody can hear me okay, yeah. My mic is going in and out. Maybe it's my connection here. Okay, somebody said my mic is going in and out. Okay. All right. Fig Beater, yeah, also mod Fig Beater, God bless. Karina, Liana, thank you for your support of the channel as well. Adub, what's happening? All of you guys that have been a part of our channel and have been working with us over the years and have supported us through thick and thin. You have definitely kept us on air. I can tell you 100% emphatic for this transitional period that we've kind of gone through. You have kept the supply lines open to this channel's message, to keeping it out. You all are a vital part of this, and I appreciate, and I know that there is a great reward for everybody that understands the message that we carry here and helping it put it, what do they call it? Helping to push it forward. How do they say that? Pay it forward. Yeah. And helping to pay it forward. And that's what we're doing here. The message is being put forward to people all around, and we hope and pray that it helps everybody out. So God bless you. And the coffee is right there. If you do the coffee, you can also get a message up there on the screen. It'll basically put your message out there. I think it works. Hopefully it works. Let me make sure I got it up here working okay. And let's see what else we got here. Where am I at here? We're still waiting on the updates here. I'm sure these updates are going to come in fast and furious. So we're not going anywhere. We're definitely... my OBS studio was disconnected again. What is going on? Why is it happening? Okay, are we having a problem? Or is there far? Let me see. What is going on here? We're having an issue. Are we being hacked? This doesn't normally happen. This doesn't normally happen, right? What's going on here? You can see that we had a big drop off right there. What in the world? Yeah, that's probably it, MS Saint. And we talk about important topics that have to do with the condition of our souls, which we do on our BP Ministries channel. If you go to the BP Ministries channel, you can always just search that on YouTube, BP Ministries. But we also talk a lot about that here, especially in our kind of laid back moments where we're just kind of hanging out. I'll go into some topics and share with you some testimony and let's see what else. We got some more updates here. The funeral prayer was okay. This is about the prayer thing. There you go. See? Look at that. You got it. Let's make sure I got that up. Make sure I can see who that is. Uh-oh, you know what it is? I had it on the wrong source, maybe? How come that didn't show up? Did that not show up right? I want to make sure people can see it, though. You heard the coffee, right? Somebody did send a coffee, but I missed it. Let me go and see who that was. We got to drum up support. That's right. 3 coffees from MS. That was Thompson. Let me see who that was. Does it say the name? Thompson. It doesn't say who this was. Thank you very much, Thompson. 3 coffees there. Awesome. You did good. Let's see here. So let me look at some of your comments here while I'm waiting. I'm doing a couple things here on the side here while I'm talking to you. David Craig, God bless you, brother. Angela Curran. Yes, David Craig, great supporter of the channel. Thank you so much, David, for all that you've done, standing with us, praying for us. David's been around for a long time. God bless you, bro. And Angela Curran, sound is good. Okay, good. It's true, MS M Saint. I was going to say M Saint. It's a very good conversation. And we're going to be doing, for all those who are believers out there, we're going to be doing a communion service here real soon. So stay tuned to that. There's always a great message that we tap into, right? And I'll say tap into it because I don't always say, hey, this is just me. You know, this is the way I think. Well, I do believe there's an influence that is beyond all of us that, you know, joins our conversation. And I'll just say it like that. For all you who know, where 2 or more of you are gathered, there I am in your midst. Remember that. Always be aware who's in our midst. For you who don't know, it's okay. You can get in there too. Just pray and try to figure out what it is we're talking about. Pray to the universe if you don't believe there's a personal God, and say, reveal yourself to me, universe, and you'll get it, I'm sure. God is definitely personal, and he wants to reveal intimate, very, time sensitive instructions to all of us. And I'm going to tell you like that because we need to know details. Devil's in the details. I'll tell you who's in the greater details. God is in the details, the finest subatomic particles. He knows everything. All right. The devil he's kind of like quantum AI. The devil's quantum AI. God is in everything that is a part that upholds creation itself. Think about this. There's a scripture that says his word the whole world is upheld by his mighty power, and that it's in his word, right? I think it goes like that. Let me see. Up. I want to make sure I say this correctly. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. Is it Hebrews? Yeah, okay, so it says who, talking about Jesus, being in the brightness of his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, right? Full of grace and truth. We beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father. Why? There we go. I got it set. Whoever that was, I missed it. Okay, I'll get back to you. So this word upholds all things, it says. It says here that who being in the brightness of his own glory and the express image of his person, he upholds all things by the word of his power. When he had by himself purged our sins, he sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high. Think about this. The word made flesh dwelling among us. We beheld his glory. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Here it says that he, being in the brightness of his glory, the glory as of God, the creator of all things, he condescended and literally took on a body, which was the person of Christ Jesus, right? God was in Christ, reconciling the world back to himself. He was literally taking upon himself, God, in a physical body, being a mediator, something that Adam did not do correctly. That's why they call Jesus the second Adam, right? He's the second Adam. He was literally reconciling the world back to himself through his sacrificial offering up of his body, right? And of his whole life. Also giving an example and lighting the flame, literally the light that came into the world, and the world comprehended it not. So he sat down at the right hand after all this work was accomplished it says sat down on the right hand of the Majesty on high. And then 2 Corinthians says, for God, who said, let light shine out of darkness, has made his light to shine in our hearts, to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. How are we going to receive this knowledge? You have to go through the door. It's a portal. Jesus himself said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the door. No one gets into the sheep pen except through me. They got to pass under the staff, right? Any other way that you get into the sheep pen, it says you're a thief and a robber. So don't accept anyone who says they're a Christian if they haven't come by way of the cross of Christ and they don't understand his true gospel, right? It's very clear. The Bible's very clear about what the true gospel really is. Okay, that's nothing. I'm still looking at reports as they pop up here. So let's see who just did that. Someone, it just says someone. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for who that someone was. God bless. I appreciate you, whoever you are out there. Okay, there we go. I had it too big so you couldn't see who donated there. So let me put it back to the right size. There you go. That way you can see next time. I don't ever get donations, so I don't focus on it. That's why when I say let's try to drum up a little bit of support, I got to be ready for it. So here we go. Okay, here's a Middle East Spectator is now giving new sirens in Bahrain. Okay, so there we go. I told you we were going to be hearing about attacks now on U.S. interests in Gulf states. Bahrain is now under attack. Now, this could also be missiles coming in from the Strait, because sometimes they will put their missiles, their sirens on when they see these missiles coming in. They're not sure of the trajectory. They just know missiles are coming. They'll put on their sirens. But this is just now breaking in Bahrain. So that just happened. So get ready, guys. Get ready. I'm going to tell you, things are definitely ramping up here. Bahrain. How do you say it? Bahrain? Bahrain. I like to say it like that because it looks like Bahrain. Bahrain. I think it's called Bahrain. Cheeseburgers? Oh, now you're getting me all hungry for cheeseburgers. I haven't had a cheeseburger in a long time. You know what, though? We have to make our own. We do not go anywhere to get any kind of cheeseburgers at all. We have to make it ourselves. And we've got beef that is Bahrain. Okay, Bahrain. Okay. You got it. All right. I got it straight. But no, hey, we're going to make hamburgers now. Right, Mom? Okay, I call my wife mom because of my kids. They all call her mom, and I say, "Hey, mom, when are we gonna get the dinner? What are we gonna get? Let's get some hamburgers tonight. What do you think?" So we use good beef that is local, beef that doesn't have a bunch of garbage in it. You got to get the beef. You don't want to go to Walmart beef. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't want to go to these fast food places because you don't even know if it's real beef or whatever they're putting in it. I know Taco Bell was criticized a while back because they were putting wood pulp in it. You know what wood pulp is? It's harmless, they say, but it fills you up. So they add it to the beef. And people are eating this wood pulp in their tacos. Wood pulp, yeah. Whatever else they put in there. Heck yeah, I think I can smell hamburgers cooking right now. And by the way, I make a really cool sauce, barbecue sauce. You want to know how to make a good barbecue sauce? I'm not sure of I just kind of eye it. I don't really have like a true recipe, but I'll give you what I do. So I usually put like a scoop or two of honey in with about 4 or 5 scoops, maybe a little bit more. I taste it to make sure it tastes okay. But with ketchup and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce and salt and pepper, mix it all up. And it is the best. I'm telling you, it tastes so good. I put that on chicken. I'll put it on hamburgers or beef, cook it all up. You don't want to cook it too hot though, because the honey in there will it'll start to burn. But that's the way to do it. Ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and honey. The best. Try it. You'll like it. We got our own lettuce and tomatoes. We got it right out of the garden. We got our onions. We've got onions in the garden. We got tomatoes in the garden. We got lettuce in the garden. We've got garlic coming up. We did our garlic. We're preparing, guys. I'm just telling you, we're on a budget too, and everything is expensive. You go and you try to buy organic food, do a little work, get out there in the hot sun, sweat a little bit. I always tell people, exercise, get yourself out there and do your own garden. You'll save yourself a lot of money. We've still got vegetables from last year. We got to eat those vegetables up. Okay, here it is. Explosions in Bahrain right now. Explosions are happening in Bahrain, according to Intel Slav. So you want to save yourself some money and also get yourself some good food. Grow a garden. If you can't grow a garden, definitely keep connected to local farmers and farmers markets. Frequent the farmers markets. Get well versed with what's good. Their practice of growing, make sure they're not putting a bunch of chemicals on their food, and make sure you're a part of their, I think they call them what do they call it? No sirens yet. Okay. Further explosions are now being reported in Bahrain. They're saying Bahrain. Okay, so they're saying no sirens yet. New explosions where? No sirens yet, they said. Okay, so this one says sirens. Further explosions are being reported in Bahrain. Okay, so that's really important to know. Oh, yeah, and the wife makes such good buns too, by the way. Okay, so there's a way to do it. Yeah, you got to put butter on them, and you make them like the way they do at. Have you guys ever been to In-N-Out Burger? How many of you guys out there have ever had an In-N-Out Burger? What makes an In-N-Out Burger so good is the bun. You got to make the buns correct. You got to grill them too. You got to kind of grill them. So I'm getting really hungry for hamburgers right now, just because of what you said. So definitely grill those buns with butter. M Saint is absolutely correct. We got squash growing as well. Yep. We got peas. I just got a bunch of peas out today. Grew them all along the fence line. I grew a bunch of peas, the kind that you just open up and you can just eat them. They taste so good. Oh, man. We got some corn growing. We got a bunch of corn, Frodo. Yes, we do. All right. This time I can see it. Someone bought 10 coffees. Woohoo. You've been watching since 2015? Who is this? Who said that? You've been watching since 2015. That's a long time. Thank you. Whoever you are out there, I didn't know who it was, but you're awesome. God bless. Thank you. Putting it to good use, I promise. We are putting it right back in. You have 42 chickens, Kevin? What? There you go. You got some eggs now. And eggs are good for you, by the way. By the way, I read an article just yesterday about how people that eat eggs regularly, no problems with dementia or Alzheimer's. Eggs cured it. They say an egg a day or two is so good for you, you should eat eggs like little vitamins. Chicken nuggets. They're little golden chicken. I keep telling you guys, get some chickens. You don't want to eat the ones in the store, though. The ones in the store might not be as good for you. If you get the organic ones, maybe a little bit better. But still, they feed them a bunch of soy. You don't want to eat chickens that have been eating soy. They're like, or on some vegetarian diet. You want them to eat protein. Get them out there eating the bugs. Get them eating the worms. Give them some good food. God bless you, Kim. I love you. Thank you so much. Love you in Jesus' name. Thank you. Oil from burgers on a large sliced piece of onion. Oh, that's good too. No problem, Pats. I understand. We're in hard times. I know. Believe me, the economy is affecting many people, and I don't expect anything from anybody that's having hard economic times. But if you're out there and you've got a little bit to spare, definitely, put it toward what we're doing, or go get something from the store that we have. Definitely try to help out two birds with one stone. You're also preparing. I talk about, and this is what I think is really important right now too, for the times that we're going into with higher prices and food inflation and forever chemicals being sprayed. Now, Trump just recently approved 2 or 3 more new forever chemicals that were never used in the U.S. to spray on our produce. Very toxic, very deadly, and they're pushing this on our produce. So what do you want to do? I say this, get a bunch of seeds, get a bunch of organic seeds. This is what we're doing, and we're growing microgreens. Microgreens are some of the best things you can eat. Concentrated phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, all in a microgreen, which is right after the stage of a sprout. So you got sprouts, microgreens, baby greens, and then you got the full-grown plant. So let's just say the most powerful and nutritious microgreen you can eat is a broccoli. It has 50 to 100 times more compact nutrients in it in a microgreen state than a full-grown plant, right? So when it actually buds and it has a lot of fiber, yeah, you're missing the fiber, but you're not getting that concentrated seed. So you can eat a small little handful of broccoli. Broccoli is one of the most powerful microgreens you can eat. And if you get a little handful, just a small little amount, it is like eating all of your vegetable content in just a little bit, right? So we do this for the kids. We put a lot of that in our sauces and things, and whatever they're eating, we kind of chop it up really small. You can't even see it, and they put it in there because you know how kids are. We got little kids. they're always like, it looks funny. It's green. Oh no, what is that? So you hide it in the food. Now some of our kids are already getting to the point where they can eat vegetables now, but you can get your vegetable intake with microgreens, and they only take 3 to 5 days. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It's 5 to 10 days in a microgreen state. Sprouts are usually about 3 to 5 days, but let your vegetables that you're microgreening go from about 5 to 10 days, and you can have an unlimited supply of vegetables all throughout the year. And I'll tell you what, if you buy, like, let's just say a bag, a half a pound of broccoli, that'll supply you with huge amounts of nutrients for at least a month. If you were sporadically doing it every 2 to 3 days, like 3 days, I should say 3 to 5 days, you should do it like every 3 days. Have 3 pans or 3 trays. Start day one, and about 3 days later, start another one, and then another, depending on how big your tray is and how big your family is. If you got a big family, you might want a couple trays. But you do one tray, space it out every 3 days, and then you'll have a continual supply. And a bag, a half a pound of broccoli sprouts or broccoli seeds, and it's, they're about $20, I think it's something like that. That'll make you, if you got the small pan, it'll make you probably 20 to 30 trays. Literally, a tray will last you a half a week if you're just 1 or 2 people. You can kind of figure it out as you go, but it's really a learning curve, just good getting out there to do it. I always tell people, just do it, then you'll learn. As you're doing it, you'll learn. And you're saving so much money. If you were to try to buy microgreens in the store, one tray is going to cost you $10, just microgreens themselves. Literally, you can make 20 to 30 of these smaller trays of microgreens for $20 of seeds. And you're saving yourself a bunch of money. You're getting a huge amount of compact nutrients. And I say, if you don't have the ability to grow a garden, then you need to do microgreens right in your house on your windowsill. All you need to do is stock up on seeds. And all you need is a little bit of soil. You just put a small little grow medium at the bottom. Sprinkle your seeds on there. Make sure they're all nice and level. And then germinate them. It takes about 2 days to germinate. I should show you a video. I'm going to show you a video, guys, of what I'm doing again. You can see some of those videos on here. And the reason I do it is because you need to know how to do it. And you need to promote something to people that I think our economy is going in such a bad way. I mean, look at the prices. If you want to spend cheap money on food that's got laced with chemicals, then yeah, you're going to go buy that cheap food. It doesn't look bad. It looks okay. But when you eat it, it's affecting you. You go to the organic section and it's twice the price. And it's going to keep going up. All the food is going to go up. In fact, I think a lot of that food is going to start disappearing off the shelves. When all this stuff really ramps up, oil prices are going to go back up. Gas is going to become scarce. I think we're going to see scarcity. I think we're going back into lockdowns. I think it's going to be worse than COVID 2.0. It's going to be worse than COVID was. I think what's coming is going to be, when it hits, it's going to hit where everybody's going to panic, just like they did in COVID. And everybody went out to the store and bought as much as they could. And I'm not just talking about toilet paper. I'm talking about food. And remember, everything disappeared off the shelves. You couldn't get wheat. You couldn't get rice. You couldn't get the basics. Everything was just disappeared. Everybody panicked and everybody bought everything up. Meat was gone, chicken, everything. Remember? This is coming again. And I'm going to tell you what, it's coming a lot sooner than people think. So make sure you're ready. Cruise missiles just fired at U.S. bases in the Gulf of Oman by Iran. Okay, so Kevin is now saying that this just happened. I didn't see this. Let me see if I can see anything happening here. Um, let's see. Yeah, this is going to be kinetic. A very intense war that's coming, guys. This is the beginning of it right now. That's why we're covering this right now, because we know that this is going to intensify. Okay, so it says here, Iran struck 3 merchant ships near the Strait of, prompting retaliatory strikes on Iranian coastal and anti-ship missile sites. No U.S. bases in the Gulf of Oman were hit. Instead, Iranian... this is AI, so they haven't caught up yet, because it does say here on some other sites here that U.S. strikes on Iran need Saudi base access. Oh wow! So this was just today. U.S. strike on Iran needs Saudi base access. It may not get. So the Saudi Arabians are not going to allow U.S. to use their bases. What? This is houseofsaud.com and also Channel 7. 3 sites are now saying this. A lot of stuff is just now happening, so it hasn't been updated yet. So I think that you're right on that, Kevin. You're probably right on this. I think that some things are definitely happening right now. We're in the middle of it right now. Let's see. Updates on this escalating situation are available in the NBC News app and the Central Command. Let's see what Central Command is saying. I hear the coffee once again. David Craig, 20 coffees. David! Praise the Lord. Thank you very much, brother. I do appreciate you as I navigate through all this craziness here. It's always good to get encouraged with some new coffees. This coffee is getting a little bit cold. Got to warm up this coffee in my green cup. See this? When something's green, it makes everything disappear. You may think that this is a studio. It's just a big green screen. It makes it look nice, but it's just an empty wall behind me with a green cloth over the top of it. Yep. But at least I'm honest. Thank you, Tangible Hope. God bless you. Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you so much, David. It's an invisible cup. Yeah. An invisible cup. MS says that she has to cover hers with shade cloth. In fact, my wife says the same thing. We got to get shade cloth. What are you talking about again? Which crop or which plant? Because our temperatures are a little bit lower. I think our high is going to be 90 degrees here in the next few days. But our temperatures are normally in the 80s. But we definitely are thinking about shade cloths because some of our stuff is already bolting really quickly. It's bolting. All of our cilantro kind of started to bolt. And David has an amazing testimony, by the way, too. David was on death's door a few different times, and he prayed, and the Lord healed him. Literally healed him. And you guys got to hear his testimony. So if we get back into the Zoom chats again, we do our communion service. We're going to probably do it on a Zoom chat call here soon. We'll open it up for testimonies, and I think David should share that testimony of his life. You know, he's had an amazing life and testimony. It just, You know, and it's so crazy because, you know, you would think that it would be totally, when you listen to David, you're like, that's pretty amazing. You know, you wouldn't think that something like that could happen. But, you know, when you read the scriptures and you see miracles that take place, I've seen some things that are hard to explain, you know, and I have a pretty logical way of thinking. You know, I'm pretty much, you know, I'm not just trying to believe. I want to make sure that it is truly something that God is doing. I want to, it's almost like I like to verify it. You know what I mean? Something that is without dispute. And we've had a few incidences that were physical manifestations, you could say, where there was no explanation, literally no explanation. You could only say it was an answer to prayer. So, and then you talk about timing, you know, when God has certain timing that takes place, it's just perfectly timed. You got to just thank God for those perfectly ordained moments that you just know were it was almost like it was scripted. Like God was out in front of you preparing your way. You know what I mean? He opened the door. The Bible says that he opens doors that no man can shut. And then he shuts doors that no man can open. So he'll also, you know, keep the devil out too. He'll open the door for you to get through to where you got to go. And he'll also protect you so that you don't, you know, along the way, you're not going to be a casualty. You know, there's a lot of dangers and toils and snares, you know, that we come through as a believer. What does it say? Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I've already come. 'Tis grace that's led me safe this far, and grace will lead me home. The grace of God is his unmerited favor. You didn't earn it, deserve it. You trusted God. You believed. You followed him. You gave your whole life to him. He watches out, right? He takes care of his own. His interest is that you are going to make it to where you need to go. And ultimately, that is the very peace that you have with God that leads you into his presence through whatever we go through in life. Ultimately, we all have to one day die. Everybody, the last enemy is death, right? The last enemy. But death is going to be swallowed up in life, it says. So if you're a believer, you don't really die. You just kind of, the Bible calls it sleep, but it says death is swallowed up in life. The keys of death, hell, and the grave have been taken away from the enemy, which was the devil, which is the devil, but he had at one point the keys. And on the cross, Jesus took the keys of death, hell, and the grave away, right? So there's always been this awareness that saints throughout the ages have always had, that God himself is the securer of our life. He's the one that gives us peace. You can read it all throughout the Old Testament. But it was prophesied to eventually be culminated with a fulfillment in the Messiah's advent. His coming would ultimately liberate humanity with a timestamp. So by faith you look back, and before pre-Christ, everybody looked forward in faith. They received the benefits by faith as well. You know, David received the benefits of grace and forgiveness, and he wasn't under that strict law of judgment that many people are under. You know, if you don't walk by faith, you're under judgment. You're under a strict law. And you got to really transition into that understanding of Scripture's teaching that for by grace are we saved through faith, right? This not of ourselves, it is a gift of God, it not of works, lest you should boast, right? You know, grace is a gift, and faith is a gift. You know, faith is a portion measure to each one of us has been given a measure of faith. So you even receive the gift of faith to even receive grace. To even come into God's presence, he has to call you. You can't even know or see the kingdom unless he's opened your eyes to see it and receive it by faith. You become born from above, right? So no one comes to the Son, it says, unless the Father draws him. So unless you're drawn by God, you're not even going to come. So until God softens your heart, now we have a free will, and that free will has to be engaged. It has to be transformed through a process, and usually that process is pain and suffering. It says, man is born unto trouble as the sparks fly upward. We're all born to tribulation. But how we bear that tribulation and ultimately picking up a tribulation that God himself prepares for each one of us is a part of our sharing of in his suffering. We receive a glory, a presence that abides with us. And it says you're to rejoice in that sharing. When you rejoice in that suffering that he had, that he shares with you, right? And so it's a different type of lifestyle than a person that's outside of the knowledge of the Bible would have, because really you're bearing it, the human experience is to suffer, right? It is, that's just what it is. But the benefit that you have as a believer is that you have Christ that bore your judgment in that suffering that ultimately leads to futility and emptiness, and ultimately separation and outer darkness. You're really not going to have a knowledge of the Creator himself that he had destined for you to understand. But Jesus bridges the gap, right? He took upon himself that judgment, and then he led you, as the light of the world that he is, back into right relationship with God, right? That's the essence of in a nutshell, the gospel. We got an update here. Let's see. The Iranian army launched some drones at Bahrain. They launched some drones at Bahrain. All were intercepted before posing a threat, and the siren did not sound. The IRGC has not yet taken part in this retaliation, only the army. So the IRGC has not retaliated yet, only the army. I guess there's a distinction between, there is. Okay, so the IRGC is the kind of the elite military wing of the Iranian. They're like special forces, I think. But the army is the one that launched the drones. Okay, so that was just an update. That's from Middle East Spectator. Getting back to the essence of what this channel is really all about, it's really about preparing ourselves in every way. And I say this in the natural way. I talk about preparing just your life in general, food, alternative electricity, alternative power, maybe some communications if you have family and friends you want to keep in touch with in case the grid goes down. Food and water access, make sure you have all that squared away. Community, watching your back, making sure that you've got a community that you can tap into. That's all important preps that everybody should be aware of, and making sure are secure. But the most important prep, and I always say this, is the soul, right? Making sure that you're ready no matter what happens. In life, bad things do happen, but you have to be ready to meet the Lord. I mean, can you really say that you're ready? If you ask yourself, are you ready? Scripture talks about testing yourselves to see whether or not you're in the faith. It says that he's talking to Christians, those who believe that they're Christians, that they're right with God, right? They're in the church. Paul addresses them and says, test yourselves to see whether or not you really truly are in the faith, and that Jesus Christ lives within you, that he's living within you, unless, of course, you fail the test. And he says, so why would he bring that up? Because there's many that are walking They have a name that they're alive, but they're not right with God. It says that, but they're dead. They praise him with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. How many Christians do you know that are clanging cymbals and tinkling gongs? They have no love. They don't really know what God's love really is. And they don't walk humbly. They're very prideful. And they're caught up in a belief system that may be outwardly orthodox, but it denies the power thereof, right? It says they have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. And they're very quick on judging others, right? I always say, let God judge. Entrust your conflicts to God. Don't take vengeance. Don't try to get back at people. Pray for them and release any hold that you have on anybody and let God do it. Because God knows exactly what they need. Sometimes they might be ready for, they might get saved for all you know. I've been surprised at certain people that I thought needed judgment. They ended up getting saved, getting right with God. Other people that thought were my friend actually turned out to be Judas's and were trying to destroy me. You know what I mean? So our judgment is not always correct. Remember, your judgment is human. God sees the big picture. And the spiritual things that go on behind the scenes, we don't always know. Amen. How many of you guys believe that and understand that? Direct hit on U.S. bases in Bahrain confirmed. Wow. Kevin, wow. Where did you get that, Kevin? Just out of curiosity, see if I can find it. That is absolutely crazy. I know this is what they're saying right now about Bahrain. Bahrain. I said it right. Hey, how about those hamburgers? Man, I'm just really looking for a hamburger now. Ever since you guys started talking about hamburgers, man, I started thinking, I need a hamburger. All right, so I'm going to check Twitter for some updates here. Okay, so here's an update 1 minute ago. As the U.S. launches new strikes on Iran on Tuesday and fighting continues between Russia and Ukraine, questions are growing about whether the drop in gas prices over the past month will reverse. What an expert says. Where is the expert? Okay, here. Let's listen to see what they're saying here. All right, we'll put this on here so you can see this. Let's see this here. What am I looking at here? All right, here we go. This is what an expert says about the gas prices going back up.
Well, the good news is that gas prices are down nearly 40 cents nationally from last month, but the pace of that decline has slowed, and President Trump has taken notice. Ahead of the holiday weekend, the president complained that prices at the pump were not dropping as fast as they should be. Part of the reason for that, according to Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan, is continued violence in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. and Iran are still sparring over management of the crucial oil shipping route, despite an interim agreement that aims to stop that fighting. But another faraway war is also taking a toll on Americans' wallets, according to DeHaan.
The Ukraine attacks on Russian refineries, that's more problematic and more impactful to the price of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel, really, than what's ongoing in the Strait of Hormuz.
That's because those Russian refineries are needed to transform oil into gasoline. Ukrainian attacks are knocking out that capacity, causing supply shortages in Russia that ripple throughout the global economy, at a time when the summer is also bringing high demand and a more expensive blend of gasoline. Is it in the realm of possibilities that we could see gas prices back to pre-war levels come Labor Day?
No, probably not by Labor Day. I definitely do not believe that we'll see pre-war prices, maybe not until even Christmas or into 2027.
Next steps for the conflict with Iran and the Russia-Ukraine war, both top of mind today as President Trump is in Turkey for a NATO summit. At the White House, I'm Jack.
Well, that's probably before, this report was probably before that all this started hitting. Yeah, no, this is going to go from bad to worse. This is going to go from bad to worse, if you ask me. Okay, so thank you, D. U.S. Home Security. D just sent me this. U.S. Homeland Security News has just posted, this was posted about 15 minutes ago, that President Trump demands Iran accept all U.S. terms after this current attack or face total destruction. Surrender or die. You got to be kidding. That's absolutely crazy. Okay, here's another one D just sent me. Breaking, the IRGC Aerospace Force is now retaliating against tonight's U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force strikes on IRGC Navy bases and military sites around the Strait of Hormuz. Just a few minutes ago, it launched a number of short-range ballistic missiles at U.S. military sites across the Persian Gulf states, including Kuwait. The ballistic missiles and one-way attack drones are now on their way to their targets. Holy cow. This is according to Crisis Watch. Let me see what their credentials are here. 104,000 followers. Defense and security analyst, author, and historian. I wrote for the BBC, Israel Hayom. Okay, so they're obviously someone that we could say is a legitimate news person. All right, what is this one here? Okay, this is OSINT Defender. Intel. It says early reports from Iranian state-backed news outlets are now saying that Iran, I think they meant Iran, has targeted Bahrain, specifically the U.S. fleet headquarters there, in retaliation for U.S. retaliatory strikes on key military infrastructure across southern Iran. Alarm sirens and explosions heard in Bahrain. Several Arab sources reported that coinciding with the activation of alarm sirens in Bahrain, multiple explosions were heard in the country. It says 13 minutes ago, Barak Ravid of Axios, citing a U.S. official, has confirmed reports of Iranian strikes against Bahrain, with the official telling him that Iran has launched drones against the Gulf country. So this is even coming from Axios. Wow. So OSINT Defender is open source intel. Open source intel. According to a release from U.S. Central Command, the U.S. has completed its latest round of retaliatory strikes against Iran following their targeting of commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Per the release, over 80 targets, including air defense systems and control networks, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 IRGC small craft were hit in the strikes. U.S. officials have told news outlets that they will assess the outcomes of these strikes before moving forward. That was 18 minutes ago. All right, something just popped up here. That's funny. So, is anything else going to happen? We're going to wait and see, I think. I think that's what we're going to do, is wait and see. Supposedly things are now going to, we're done, I guess, for the time being. We'll see what happens if Iran hits us even harder than they already have, or retaliates any more than they already have, I should say. It doesn't seem like they, who knows what happened, but they attacked a base, I think, a U.S. base in Bahrain, and they've attacked another country there too. I think it was, what was the other one? It was two of them, but Kuwait. They attacked Kuwait as well. But in the meantime, guys, we'll just see where it goes from here. Let me just look at some more of your guys' comments before I skedaddle. If anything else happens, we'll definitely let you guys know. Stay tuned via the app. Make sure you've got the app on. That way you'll know. You won't be missing anything. If you haven't become a subscriber on the app, you won't get a text message. You'll just get a push notification. So you have to have your app running in the background in order to get the push notification. So make sure your app is on. That's if you're just a guest. Some people say, well, they want all this information when you download the app. They want to look at your stuff. Well, most apps are do that anyway. But, it's just basically giving access to getting you a text. I think that's pretty much what it is. If you want a text, that'll go right directly to your phone. Otherwise, you'll get a push notification which pops up on your app, right? All right, what was I looking at? I was going to look up something here really quick. What was I going to do? I want a hamburger. All right, so I'm looking at your comments right now, making sure that we're not missing anything. Anybody have anything they want to say? Anything they want to say before we go? Good night, McGrath. Kevin McGrath. God bless, brother. Just in case. God bless you. Patty Lynch. Have a good night. Lynn. Tangible Hope. David Craig. God bless all you out there that are watching in the shadows on Roku. Lynn Farley. M. Saint. God bless you. Patty Lynch. Mamacita. And Diane. Another one of the mods. Thank you. Angela. And everybody else in between. Frodo Baggins. I'm just kind of scrolling back here. D. Rice. Kevin McGrath, I said. Okay, I think that we got everybody. Garden Caretaker, God bless. S. Neal, God bless. We'll all talk to you soon. And get ready. We're going to be doing a communion service for all you out there that are believers really soon. I'll let everybody know where it's going to be, the time, and we'll probably do a Zoom if you know how to do Zoom. We were doing Zoom before it became popular. For some of you guys have been following us, you know that.